Hi everybody, it's Kristen Redman, and we are going to be focusing on our reading for the week and what's upcoming for November 15th through the 21st. And where I'd like to start is with the planetary changes, what's happened, and with those planets that are above us in the sky, people wonder, well, what does that have to do with anything? It actually has to do with a lot. There's a lot of magnetic energy that comes from those planets, and it does affect us. Um, and most of all, the sun and the moon really affect us greatly, more than we realize. And one of the things this week that's going to be in effect is Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio. We're in that last leg of it. So, what Scorpio represents is the deeper, darker mysteries of not only life, but kind of the recesses of our mind and the darker sides of ourself and our subconscious. And Scorpio really represents digging into those difficult aspects of life and making sense out of them. And so right now we are all kind of under that feeling, that influence, because the sun is in that sign of Scorpio. So the sun shines the light on that. Right now we're really looking inside of ourselves. We're introspecting and we're finding what doesn't work and how we want to change that. And that's where the new moon comes into play. We had the new moon that took effect in, let's see here, that was last Wednesday on the 11th. Um, and I have a more in detail explanation of what the new moon really does and what it brings for us on my blog, The Simple Spirit. Check that out if you want to get more information. But really, just a way to utilize that into our reading for this week is I look at the moon like a glass. It can either be full or it can be empty. And last Wednesday, it's totally empty. And what we fill that up with is our own water, and that is our deep emotions, our feelings, all of our junk really that just doesn't serve us anymore. We can put that into the moon and ask for it to be transmuted and changed. And right now, there's a lot of planetary energy that's behind us to make that change happen. One of the biggest things last week was the moon became conjunct with Mercury. And Mercury is our planet of communication. So for our moon, which represents our intuition, to become completely aligned with our communication, that's a pretty good thing that we're able to communicate what we're feeling on the inside. That's one step, right? We got to communicate that to ourselves and to others. Hey, I want this to change. And that conjunction, they mean they're on the same spot. So here's the moon, here's Mercury, they're together. They also formed what is called a sextile, or that's actually a very good connection with Jupiter, which is the planet of luck, and with Pluto, which is the planet of transformation. So not only do we have our ability to communicate what we want, we have luck and expansion. That's what Jupiter represents on our side. And we have Pluto that's working in harmony with that. And Pluto brings transformation. And it's not just transformation, it's like something gets blown up and then that brings something new. So, I mean, you're not going to blow up and your house isn't going to blow up, but something is going to radically change. And that's what's wonderful, to have all that working on our side to say, I don't want this, boom, and then the radical change comes. Okay. Now, with the sun still in Scorpio this week, we're going to be working through that. We still have that introspection. If you weren't able to get your dreams out into the new moon last Wednesday, no big deal. We still have up until Saturday when the full moon hits. And when the full moon happens, that's when the moon is full, the glass is full with all of those possibilities that we put into it. And then they can become into action. And where our moon is at right now, we've got, it changes every couple of days what sign it's in. So this week we're going to be going through the signs that involve introspection and thinking. We've got Capricorn, we've got Aquarius, we've got Pisces, which really is where it starts to change. That's towards the end of the week, where we're really able to tap into that intuition, into our feelings really a lot more, to focus on what we want to change. And then when the full moon happens, it happens to be in Aries. And Aries is the very first sign of the zodiac, and it represents passion and movement, newness. It represents the springtime. So we're going to have that capability to make things new with the full moon. So really focus on what you want and what you want to change, and everything's behind you to get it done. Another thing this week is Venus goes into Libra. the sign of Libra, and it's going to be there for a little while too. Venus is our sign of love and money, so for it to be in its home, it's natural, the planetary ruler for the sign of Libra, and Libra is that sign that shows the scales. So for Venus, the planet of love and money, to be at home in the sign of Libra of balance, it really shows that we've got a lot of planetary energy behind us right now to bring balance to those two areas. Okay. Um, One thing is that it's square with Pluto, and that's going to be going through the end of the month. So remember I said Pluto's that planet of transformation, and it's through transformation for dumping things. I'm literally going to say right now with it being Venus, with love and with money, if something isn't working for you, if it's working against you, in regards to those two areas, if it really affects your self-esteem, like a person, if they're really bringing you down and it's time to change it, right now that energy is exceptionally strong to get rid of that person that's affecting your life or affecting your checkbook too, for that matter. So we've got that on our side. Another good thing that's happening this week planetarily is Neptune is going to be coming out of retrograde, and it went into retrograde June 11th. So Neptune represents our, kind of like Pisces, it represents our intuition. It represents illusions and disillusionment. It represents our dream life and anything that really has to do with us using our intuition. And so for it to go into retrograde, that says that there's obviously those things are going backwards. Retrograde means backwards. So obviously we've had a lot of problems lately with dreams and not being able to remember them, but they're really strong, and that's the effect of Neptune being in retrograde. But now when it goes into, they call it direct, that's going to start tomorrow, we're going to be able to remember those dreams, and it's perfect timing too, because if you're trying to really focus on what's going wrong in your life, you're going to be able to get those messages a lot clearer through your dreams on what needs to change and how to change them, really. So things that are hidden are going to be coming to light about ourselves. That's what happens when Neptune goes direct. And we're going to have a less foggy feeling in our minds too, because like I said, Neptune represents illusion. So when it's going backwards, we're going to be feeling disillusioned. So a lot of that's going to change in the coming time. It is, let's see here. It is square with Saturn for the next year. Okay, I'm looking at that right now. So that's going to give us all kind of a feeling of, here's this disillusionment again, right? When it's square, when it's a bad aspect with another planet, especially Saturn, which is the planet of like structure and teaching and things like that. Right now, with Neptune being square with that, we kind of feel powerless to change, and we have a lot of feelings of self-doubt and worry. So that's unfortunately going to kind of keep going on for the next year, because planets that move slow like Saturn and Neptune, when there's a connection like that, unfortunately they kind of last for a long time. But just because it's there doesn't mean it has to be there. Now that you're aware of it, you know this is why I have self-doubt. It's because Neptune and Saturn are kind of button heads, but you can work past that, right? Absolutely. So those are some things that are happening in the skies above us right now. And then I'll go into more detail about that full moon this weekend on Saturday. But right now what I want to focus on is our reading for the week. So what I'll do is I will pull a card that kind of gives us our information for the week, and I will also pull a stone, because I work a lot with my stones, and they help to bring guidance and certain angels to come through and bring messages for us, and kind of tie it all together. So let's see for the week. I feel like they're saying 3 times, so I'm going to shuffle it 3 times. Let's flip cards backwards here. Yeah. Okay. So what we have is the Ace of Air. Aces represent new beginnings, okay? And air, the suit of air, the element of air, represents our thoughts and our thought process. So right now, this is showing new beginnings with our thought process, and how perfect is that it's tying into everything that's happening this week, especially with the introspection right now, figuring out what doesn't work. And then the Ace, of course, represents those new beginnings. Let me read you exactly what it says on here. It says, brilliant new ideas and inspirations. We see the truth of a situation, and it may be a challenging beginning because this represents like the swords in the tarot suit, and swords usually represent kind of more difficulties. But this is the beginning, okay? We're trying to work past those difficulties right now. So that's a wonderful thing to start the week with, is new thoughts. We don't want to be stuck anymore, right? Now, with that one, there isn't any planetary aspects that go with that because it's an Ace card. It's a beginning card. So I don't have a planet that goes with this one, but the suit of air is going to represent any of the zodiac signs which have to do with air. And right now, we have Aquarius that our moon is going to be in. So let's see here. That's going to be in the next couple of days when it hits Aquarius. That's going to be a fantastic time to really focus on those thoughts and new beginnings. It's a wonderful thing. I'm going to pull a stone right now and see what type of energy they want to get across with that. Okay, so I've pulled this stone. I can't really see that. And it's backwards too. In reality, it has a P on it. So anytime somebody pulls this stone, I got this in Petoskey, ironically, which begins with P. But I consider this the stone of psychic energy. It's that ability to tap into ourselves and our intuition and know what it is that we need. And how ironic is that? That's exactly what we are focusing on this week, using our thought process and our psychic intuition. Is going to be a lot sharper once Neptune goes direct on, well, geez, tomorrow, Tuesday. So we got those two in tandem, and it's going to bring new beginnings. Okay. And I also have these cards, too, to kind of pull a little extra feeling with that. I think they're pretty obvious here with what they're saying, but just to kind of get a good feeling behind this, what they really want to drive home with us for the week here. I feel like I got to do it 2 more times. So just hold on just a second here. And yeah. Okay. Perfection. Okay. Well, hey, obviously that's what we're trying to strive for, right? And one thing to keep in mind too, with this perfection, I feel like what they're telling me right now is, if you're working on a relationship, especially now that Venus is in Libra and we're trying to bring that balance into things, keep in mind the words that we say. See how this lady's shooting out some yellow out of her mouth there? Our words carry so much weight, and we can really hurt or we can really heal with them right now. So I think what they're trying to get that point across right now is, even though we're trying to make things better in our life, avoid trying to be a perfectionist about that, okay? Watch our words and make sure that you temper them. And because if we don't temper what we say, when we're trying to be constructive, we're just being hurtful. So use that intuition, use that logic, send that out into the remaining bits that we have of this new moon, and that change is going to come. Okay, so this weekend, in that full moon, we'll talk more about that. I'll do a blog post probably about that. And probably midweek when I do my Facebook post, we'll talk about it a little more in detail. But for the week, this is what we've got to look forward to. And thank you so much for checking in, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.